Good evening, good evening, good evening. Welcome. It's a pleasure to be before you today. Let me make a few corrections here. Okay. It is a pleasure to be before you today with another interesting message. It's my hope that it will cause you to think, to make a self-assessment of yourself, your behaviors, and the thing that you do. I was on the way to work this morning, and I had a thought. For those of you who recall the movie The Matrix, when they, not Neo, but Morpheus presented him with a choice of the red pill and the blue pill, and told him he can take one and stay in another land, or take the other and go out of the rabbit hole. And the thought came to me this morning that there are a lot of individuals do not want to know the truth, do not want to consider the truth, and do not want to change for whatever reason. They are the ones who have decided to stay on their own mental plantation. And they can become our enemy because they don't want to change. They may be opposition to our own change. Family members, friends, and relatives, close associate, husband and wives, do not want us to change from our behavior. So welcome to those of you who follow me. As I mentioned before, it's a pleasure. I began this series, Self-Imposed Mental Enslavement Plantation. I did not know it will receive such a outpouring of comments, personal mine, or the views that I'll go back and look and see how many people have watched the video. And even though they did not comment, I still thank those who did watch the video. As I mentioned in previous videos, I post messages to encourage, to inspire, to give you an enlightenment, to give you something that you may not be aware of, to make you aware of things that you may never even consider. To those of you who follow this series, thank you. Thank you for watching the videos. Thank you for your comments and sharing it with your friends and family members. Allow your family members and friends, those of you on your Facebook page, the opportunity to hear what you have heard, because they might need to be free from their own self-imposed mental enslavement. There are some Black individuals who are revealing one-sided messages, and I'll get to that in a minute. Why? They must have a hidden agenda to keep you on their plantation of ideas, belief, and wants, and they want people to follow them. For example, when we read about, when someone posts something on any social media website and they talk about what the Black race went through and what they experienced, and some of the stories and the pictures can be saddened, cause you to get angry, but they need to give all of the message, what whites done for Blacks and vice versa, how history, really was spun in another direction to deny Black understanding of who they are, where they come from, what accomplishments they made in their life. So when you hear someone talking about Black history, always remember, put this in the forefront of your mind. They have two agendas: to make you feel mad, angry, upset, want revenge. Another side should be, I'm going to learn from what my ancestors had experienced. I'm going to build upon that, and I'm going to make a difference in my own life. In doing so, by making a life change in my life, then I'm going to be in a position to help others. That is what we need to begin to do. We must begin to take our eyes off of the things that deal with us. I have this saying, 1 + 1 is 2. If you talk to the average person, 1 + 1 has become what I think, what I feel, what I believe, and what's in it for me. Very little factual information is in a discussion. People are blaming other individuals, husbands, wives, friends, and family members for doing or not doing what they expect of them. People who are in power say one thing and do another. They put their hand on the Bible and swear. Individuals on the street are denied the truth from any race. We, our race of people, must begin to wake up from our own self-imposed mental enslavement. I have no power to make you do anything. I can't make you listen, follow me, or even anything. I just can't make you do anything. I can only give you the information and allow you to apply it to your life, allow you to do your own homework. I'm a great believer on we must always do our homework, and I share this often. I was one of the individuals that did not like to read a book. If the book did not have any pictures in it, I did not read it. But then that was a stupid thought, because if somebody wanted to hide something from me, all they had to do is put it in a book. And I would be easily be deceived, because guess what? I would not know what is in the book. We as individuals need to begin to read. We just read to educate ourselves. Don't say it doesn't matter to me, it doesn't benefit me. We need to educate ourselves. When we educate ourselves and read things, we increase in our communication skills, we increase in our vocabulary, and we are able to speak complete sentences. We're able to express ourselves without using street terminologies and whatever we decide to do, share that day. We must be mindful that people are watching us. Excuse me. People from afar are watching us to see how we're going to behave. And someone told me about crabs in a basket. What happens when you have a bunch of crabs in a basket? When one crab try to reach to the top, another one try to pull them down. We can say we as a race of people, you may not like this, are behaving like crabs in a basket. We don't want to see another one of our race to succeed. And I was sharing this with someone. It's hard to share the truth among your own race, because you are hated, you're called an Oreo, you call whatever that comes to mind. You may be cussed out, you may be called the N-word, you may be called anything to cause you to stop what you're doing, and people just love to hurt you. So when you share the truth, being a Black individuals get mad about what you're sharing. If my connection go away like it did the last time, I'll just have to start all over, but I pray that it won't stop, and I'll be able to broadcast continually for you all to see me. Let me see where I'm at. We must begin to be consciously aware of what matters to us. If we're so self-centered on what it's about me, we will miss the message on how we are being deceived. How you are being deceived. If you don't look at your life, look at your choices you've made, listen to other people, friends and family members, you may miss the mark, that you have been deceived into doing something, saying something that had caused you pain. It may have given you a bit of pleasure, but it had caused you pain. We all have jobs, 9 to 5, 3 to 11, 11 to 7. Some individuals are married, some have kids, some want to be married, some want to have kids, some don't want to have kids. Some people drink alcohol, some people do all kinds of things in their lives, and that's their choice. But when we come to a point, any individual should call into question, what is my life worth? What should I be doing? How should I behave? What should I leave behind Am I going to leave something behind that someone can benefit me? Am I going to allow myself to be seduced? Am I going to allow myself to fall into the trap of blaming another race on things that I'm doing or not doing? We must begin to understand that we need to be free. We must free ourselves from the mental slavery of plantation mentality. I gave the last message and I show you how the physical examples that slave experience can be played out in our own life from a different point of view. We as individuals need to begin to call into question everything that we see. Why is this happening? Who benefits from my behavior? Who is causing this? Am I being deceived? Am I being seduced? We must come together as a race of people and begin to think and quit trying to outdo one another. Quit thinking about how it benefits me. Quit thinking about, no, you're not good enough to tell me anything. Why should you tell me this? Why should you tell me that? No, we should simply just go out and begin to call into question everything from any race of people that's telling us something. We must stick our head above the surface and say, I'm not going to allow my pride to hold me back, which is another form of self-enslavement on our own mental plantation. We are afraid to express how we feel about any and everything. We want to think in a group thought. When you think in a group thought, you only express the group thought, not what you think and feel and believe. We must begin to open our minds and call into question everything that we see. Every one of us have a purpose in life. Are you ready to be free? Are you ready to remain on your own plantation of ideas and beliefs? Because it only benefits you. I stated this earlier. We all have once, are doing it now, knowingly or unknowingly, intentionally doing it, putting ourselves on our own mental plantation. When we hear things, we should call into question. I heard something on the news this morning that I could not believe. So when I got home from work, I decided to investigate it and see if what I heard was true. I'm going to read it to you and I'm going to touch on a little segment of it as I go through. This came from the NWC president says, implicit bias training should be the norm, not just a crisis response strategy. It's like when something happened in a different part of the city or at a particular store, and they said we should have some type of training to teach our employees how to function, how to behave in dealing with other multicultural race. A response and strategy should be mandatory. It should be mandatory to have bias training, should be mandatory should be normal. African Americans continue to suffer at the hands of public officials. Some act on their bias, sometimes for simply flying, golfing, black, driving, walking, or drinking while black. And that is what the article said. I'll read it again. African Americans continue to suffer at the hands of public officials. I'll get back to that in a minute. Some act on their implicit bias. Sometimes they are for simply flying, a black person flying, golfing, driving, walking, or drinking coffee while being black. Let me see. It's another part, but I'm gonna touch on this. African Americans continue to suffer at the hands of public officials. I'm gonna add this. Some African Americans continue to suffer from the hands of other black individuals who decide to go steal, rob, and do whatever to their own race to earn money for whatever, to steal, sell drugs, sell illegal drugs to their own neighbors, to their own family, and say, well, I'm not making them buy it, which is true, but they're selling drugs. So African Americans do continue to suffer from the hands of their own people. Not only whites, other races suffer and are suffering right now. And blacks are suffering from their own race, from the hands of their own race, from the mouth of their own race, simply for being black. When we are told to go to college, to get an education, to do the best we can with our life, we are attacked because we took that road. We are asked, this is the article, we ask why is society continue placing, we ask why is our society continue placing training on unconscious and bias into the red button that breaks in the case of emergency. We ask why is our society continue placing training. How can you place training on the unconscious mind? How can you say, I have a conscious mind, I can think, to eat, drink, go to work, take a shower, whatever I can think of, I think it and I do it. My unconscious mind, I have no control of my unconscious mind, it's invisible. So how can you write a law, pass a law, do anything that is spiritual? The air that you and I breathe, you and I have no power to tell the air, don't breathe on me because I'm a white person. If the air that we breathe was prejudiced, then I guess the air could say, I'm not going to supply oxygen to black people. I'm not going to supply oxygen to Mexican people or Jews. How absurd that is. We cannot control the weather. We only prepare how the weather. We prepare ourselves when the weather do surface. Raincoat, snow, autumn, fall, and winter and summer. We must prepare ourselves for the weather. So how can groups that say they speak for me say we must pass laws, we must implement training to deal with the unconscious bias that people have? Bias is a prejudice in favor of against one thing, person or group compared with one another. Again, bias is prejudice in favor or against one thing, a person or group compared with one another. You and I, when we get up in the morning, we do this very same thing. We are prejudiced. You and I are prejudiced. Everyone on this earth is prejudiced and do discriminate every moment of the day. How? When you get up in the morning, you look in your closet, you look over your clothing, and you discriminate against another piece of clothing, and you put on that clothing. That's a thing. You're prejudiced when you go to a certain restaurant. You're prejudiced against, how much money you decide to take out of the bank and leave the other rest there. Pretend the money could talk and say, oh, you took out $20, left my other 20 in there. Why you didn't bring my family with me? We all express unconscious bias. To say that whites hate black, which is true in some individuals, but this not mention that there are some blacks do not like other blacks. You let two black female, one is darker than the other, the N-word, the red bone, and everything out will be slinged verbally at that particular person. And the same go with males. We can hate one another. We don't like you to read the messages in the headline that white individuals are always oppressing blacks, white individuals are holding me back, white individuals doing this and that may be true. I'm not denying these things happen, but we need to hear all of the truth that black individuals, some don't like other blacks, especially if you come from another part of the country. Black individuals do hate one another. They do despise one another. You get a good job, you get certain things a push upon you, you're going to see who your friends are. Even your family member is going to come up against you when you are in a position of authority. And so we must not be deceiving ourselves. So when we deny ourselves the truth because we are afraid to lose something and change our behavior, we have put ourselves on our own self-imposed enslavement plantation. Favoritism, unfairness, and prejudice. You and I experience, and we do this thing every day. You are prejudiced. You discriminate against yourself, against your clothing, against anything you can think of. So begin to broaden your mind and think, and to say, this bias training should be the norm for blacks who hate. This type of training should not only be because of something may happen, like the recent incident happened in Starbucks. And I'm not saying anything I'm not saying in a way it was wrong. All right. I want to point out that when we see something something on the TV, before we are quickly grab to it and say that's right or that wrong, we need to do our homework and then make a decision as to say, what this is about. Because we can fall ourselves into the trap of group thought, group thinking. And I mentioned, I experienced myself, you're told to go to college. You're a manager, you're a supervisor. You're in a position of authority. You're doing what needs to be done to earn your paycheck. And then what happens? You may have several black males or females that do not want to listen to you when you're in that authority position. They start calling you all kinds of names. And that is the truth. They won't listen, and they make it hard for you to function on your shift. And sometimes you have to fire them. And if you fire them, they get mad at you and call you out, call you the N-word or whatever. As I mentioned, the conscious mind is aware of one's surrounding. The carnal mind look around, the conscious mind, say, I'm hungry. It sees things. It knows what it's doing because we drive to and from work, we get dressed, we take bath, we take shower. The unconscious mind, I'm going to describe to help you understand. Picture the unconscious mind as the air. You do not know when you're going to take your next breath. You do not see the air. You only feel the evidence of the air when you in, out, and breathe in and out. So we can't write, there's no law can govern that. There's no law. And they say the unconscious mind is a part of the mind that is inaccessible to the conscious mind, but that affects our behavior and emotion. So unconscious bias. You and I know, if we are true for one another, if you're honest with one another, when was the last time you look at another black individual and you had a negative thought about them? Just think about it. When last have you did that? Is it bad? Yes. We all have negative thought toward all kinds of races. Someone can have a nice car, maybe a friend or a family member, and we resent that. Somebody can have a nice house, and we resent that. Some people can have a lot of money, and we resent that and expect that they're supposed to give us money without us paying it back, or just give it to us because we are family members. So we as a race of people are enslaving our own self in our own mental plantation and saying, I deserve this because of that, excuse me. So cultural stereotypes impact our decision when we listen, when we respond. So how could you write a law? How could laws be written? Think about it. How could laws be written to control the air? The president, the Congress, the governor, or whatever, signed a bill into law saying at 10 o'clock tonight, no blacks will be able to breathe the air, or no whites. How silly and absurd that is. So we can't control the subconscious mind, the unconscious mind. We only control what we see and before us. And I'm going to quote something to you that you may have never heard, but it can apply to what you and I are experiencing today. And when I read this particular quote from Booker T. Washington, think about it. Is that being played out today of those who say they speak for us? Because if you read a lot of Booker T. Washington writing, it could very well apply to what's going on in the black race in the world today. That's why I said, do your own homework. Because when you don't do your own homework, people can take advantage of you by simply saying, let's do this and let's do that, and you follow it. So let me read Booker T. Washington quote. I recommend you read this writing. I said that. This could apply to today's climate concerning group and independent thinker. This is the quote. I'll begin here. There's another class of colored people who make business of keeping the troubles, the wrongs, and the hardship of the Negro race before the public. Having learned that they are able to make a living out of their troubles, they have grown into the settled habit of advertising their wrong, partly because they want sympathy and partly because it pays. Some of the people do not want the Negro to lose his grievances because they do not want to lose their jobs. Think about it. Think about what he said during his lifetime, and you should see if you are truthful that the same thing is happening today. Some black and white individuals do not want the Negro race to be free from their self-imposed mental plantation because it benefits the black and white individuals. For that reason, I have decided to stay. For this here. Let me go back to here. He said, there are other class of colored people who will make their business of keeping the troubles and the wrongs and hardship of the Negro race before the public. This is absolutely true. There are some people in politics or in position, maybe in the churches or maybe whatever, they make it their job to keep other blacks on their black plantation because it benefits them, not the person on their plantation. They deceive the person on their plantation who's black, he or she, to say, stay with me because what I'm telling you is the truth, give you a little bit of lies and cookies and crumbs to keep you on their plantation ideas and beliefs because it pays them the money. It gives them power and authority over you. And when you become an independent thinker, then you escape from their plantation of ideas and beliefs. And how do they get you back? As I mentioned in previous messages, they whip you with lies and accusation to get you to come back and say, yeah, you know, so-and-so is no good. That's why they left. I'm glad they left. They start slinging the word. They start slashing you, whipping you, causing all kind of problems for you. They may cause your job. They may cause problems in your marriage. But this goes on even as I'm sitting here speaking and you listening to me or going to listen to me. So I'm going to throw a little thought out to you. I thought about this and I'm going to take it in another direction. And for that reason of what I share with Booker T. Washington, I'm going to share that I decided to stay on the plantation of someone else's belief, of wants, desires, and help them to oppress, to enslave young black males, teach them that there's no hope for them. They have no goal. They came from the ship off the plantation. They have no vision. They have no dream. They are nobody. They're a race of people who just can be used by other people. I'm tired of trying to help people. I'm tired of trying to help blacks who do not want to listen to me and going to say, who do you think you are to tell me about what I need to do? It's not worth it. It's not worth the time. It's not I'm wasting my time. I see no results. Some in the black and white race use me. Please use me, black individuals. Please use me, white males. Help me to kill and steal and hurt and sell illegal drugs. Help me to commit burglaries. Help me to impregnate many black females, to run away from them, to abandon them, force them into abortion. Help me to bring forth many fatherless mothers and fatherless child. I don't care. I'm going to impregnate many females. I want to continue an ongoing cycle over and over and over. You know, I want to cause a lack of esteem. I'm going to move in a single mother house. I'm going to live off of her sweat and hard labor. I'm going to sit up and lay on the couch. I'm going to just lay there, give her a little bit of money for her nail. I'm going to go sell drugs. I'm going to sell whatever. I'm going to sleep on the couch while she go out there and work her hands and feet off to bring back the bacon to me where I can spend it. And then I will have sex with her, tell her something, make her feel that she's worthy, make her feel that she's beautiful, make her feel that I'm the one for her, realizing that she know I had just left another woman who claimed that I had impregnated them. She realized that I'm a baby father, I'm drama. I have left many children out there. I'm just tired of trying. I'm going to stay on someone else's plantation of ideas and belief because it doesn't benefit me to go out there to speak the truth, to say what I need to say, hoping that it will cause someone to say, oh, Anthony is telling us something, praise, we need to hear something like that. No, I'm just going to be like everyone else. I'm just going to be like everyone else. I'm going to give up. I'm not going to do what I've been doing. I'm not going to broadcast Facebook Live messages to encourage, to support, to give you information that you need to hear. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to say, use me, white male, use me, white black men, use me female, use me, whip me on the public square, whip me with your lies or thoughts, whip me on my back. I take my shirt off you to whip me. Do whatever it takes to cause me physical and emotional harm, because it's not worth it. I will have allowed you to enslave me. I'm handcuffed myself for you to enslave me, because it's useless. It's useless. It is useless for me to be out there to help people. I'm tired. I'm not getting anywhere. I want to believe I'm going to join the group thinking bandwagon. I'm going to walk I'm going to wear my pants below my hips, showing my underwear. I'm going to put earrings in my ears, put earrings in my nose. I'm going to have earrings in my tongue. I'm going to have earrings all over. I have tattoos all my body. I'm going to allow myself to be demasculized. I'm going to allow myself to just experience everything that I see out there that's appears to be the norm, that has been accepted by black and white and any race that say that's the norm. I'm going to be someone where someone can look at me and say, Anthony, you have no dream, you have no hope, you nothing, you're worthless, you're a black individual born into the world. One day you will die and people will forgive you. I have decided to be on somebody else's plantation. I want them to think for me. Excuse me. I want them to think for me, because I don't want to think for myself. I'm going to get up in the morning and read a book. Nah. I'm going to get the news. Nah. I'm going to go out there in the hood and listen to my brothers and sisters complain about it's the white man who's oppressing me, because that is the excuse that I can lie on for not trying, because that been tried many, many years ago and is still being tried today. I'm going to believe the politician said, I speak for you. I'm going to do whatever it takes to stay on the plantation, because my life has no meaning. And I just want someone to tell me when to sleep, eat, and feed me, whatever, because it's not worth it. It's not worth doing good things anymore. I want to be seduced. I'm going to seduce other young black males and females into believing the lie that they're useless. Forget about college. Forget about being a manager. Forget about owning your own business. Forget about having your own house. Forget about having cars. Forget about being married and have a husband and you're not a baby mama drama. Forget about meeting a man that loves you. Forget about meeting someone that really cares about you. Just stay on the plantation. Forget about someone saying they marry you and you have been living with them for 5 and 6 years. I'm going to be all these things to whomever I meet. So just use me. What good is in it for me to try to do the right thing? Should I stay on the plantation of their belief? I think after thinking all this, maybe I should, but I failed to mention when I started. I'm just kidding. I put it out there to show you how absurd that people, thoughts, and behaviors are practically, you can say, ignorant or stupid or whatever. It's not an insult. Some things, I have done stupid and ignorant things. We don't like to say certain things about ourselves. So what I just shared with you in the last few minutes is to give you illustration that I'm sure there are other individuals out there that say, I'm going to do that, but I'm a man. I could blame my lack of trying on the white race, denying that there are some. I could say if the white race caused me to stay on the plantation of my ideas and beliefs, but at the same time, I'm denying that there are other black individuals who want me to stay on the plantation because it benefits them. It benefits them because they don't want me to escape my own self-imposed plantation mentality. I want you to think. I want you to think. Have you given up? That illustration I gave you moments ago. Have you given up? Have you given up? Have you satisfied? Are you satisfied with your life? Are you satisfied with what you are experiencing right now? Are you satisfied with what you're going through? If you have a nice job, have a husband, have a wife, and you're satisfied with having children, that's fine. Are you satisfied with stealing, selling illegal drugs, drinking alcohol, smoking drugs, illicit sex, or whatever you can think of? Are you satisfied with that? That's fine. But everything that you and I reap, everything that you and I sow, everything that you and I plant in our lives, other individuals can see on the public square. You and I, as human beings, is our own physical public square. People can look at us, hear how we speak, see our behaviors, and know what kind of public square we are residing. Question: if I drink a lot of alcohol, and every time someone sees me, I'm drinking alcohol, I have put myself on the public square for them to see. Whether it's right or wrong to the individual, that's not where I'm coming from. Anything that you and I do, we reveal it to other people on our own very own public square. We have become our own whipping boy by whipping ourselves with that behavior in our mind, and then we're blaming someone else for the pain that we are experiencing, but we tend to forget the little pleasure that we receive from it. Are you ready to free yourself from your self-imposed mental enslavement plantation? It is my intention with this series. I don't know how long it's going to go. I thought it was going to be short, but I keep thinking of ideas. I keep thinking about ways how I can stretch it, not to stretch it to make it long, but to cover some of the bases that other people look at it like a buffet of truth. Something you have heard, it may apply to you, and something you may have heard has applied to family members and friends and relatives. So it's not about condemning or judging. I'm not coming from that position of blaming or judging. I'm coming from speaking the truth. I always say in most all of my videos, think about the slaves in slavery days. Yes, they experienced pain and suffering and deaths and rapes and any conceivable act that you can imagine that the slave experienced. But you and I live in 2018 that we did not experience those things. We have memory, we have history, we have forefathers that experienced all of that. But what are you going to do with the information? Seek out to hate, seek out to exercise bad things or to be resentful? Are you going to take that information to better yourself? I always use myself in my videos. I'm not perfect. I never claim to be perfect. Yes, I can say I lived a lifestyle that I'm not proud of, but all along when I was doing those things that I knew was wrong, I knew that I had a purpose in my life. I always say the slave of slavery day, I'm quite sure they woke up or prayed in their prayer closet and thought in their mind that one day they're going to be free or their ancestors will be free and they will not experience what they are going through. We have black, I call slave blazers, who have died, shed blood to give us rights that we have today. And yet some blacks refuse to accept what blacks of the past have done for them. They want more rights. They want better rights. They want this, want that. They want to seek out men. They want to riot. They want to steal. They want to do all these things. And imagine if the blacks of the past had done those things, will we be experiencing the life that we have today? Are you ready to begin to even look at your life and say, if I change this, I'm free. If I change that, I'm free. Look into the mirror and ask yourself a question. Are you satisfied with what you're doing and how you're behaving? If you are, fine. If you're not satisfied, begin to seek out someone you can trust, that have confidence in, that you can share how you feel, and hopefully you will change slowly. It's not going to happen overnight. It can, but it may not. And for you black males out there who say you're a man and you this and you that, and you represent the brother, something like that, you too was a self-imposed enslavement on you because you don't want to communicate effectively with your wife or someone that you're relating to. You don't want to communicate how you feel. You don't want to share your thoughts. You just simply going by your emotions and what you think and what you feel. Begin to look over the wall of your pride and begin to admit that you are experiencing problems. You are being abused by your wife or your female friend, verbally and physically. You're not telling anyone, but you are experiencing it. Every black male can, if they're really serious about themselves, I remember putting a question on Facebook, asking black male, using me as an example first, and asking black male to share your story. You know, you can text me or email it to me, or you can put it on on my Facebook Live. You can email it to me. Let me give you a simple one. You can put 2 days now at writeme.com, TODANOW at writeme, WRITEME.com. 2 days now. I say it again, TODANOW WRITEME me.com. If you don't remember that, you can always text me. You can share it with me verbally. I won't use your name. But just imagine when black males or any male, when we see it on TV, we hear it on talk shows, when men begin to cry out, like I mentioned in my book, The Hidden Tears of a Black Male. We can see black males crying with tears coming out of their eyes. But what about the hidden tears I'm talking about? It's those tears, it's the tears that the black male is experiencing. They show you in their behavior. They show you in their behavior. They are crying out for help. They're crying out to be noticed. They're crying out for whatever reason. Black males, in the sound of my voice, begin to ask yourself this question. Are you proud? Are you saying you're a man? Then what is your definition of a man? Begin to open up. Because when we as males begin to open up and express how we feel and what happened to us and what we are going through, other men will begin to open up too. It will be a normal thing. It won't be a girlish or a feminine thing that you express in your feelings. It won't be nothing about crying physically, because we cry out the death of a loved one. But you're crying out by simply saying, I'm hurting. I need help. Black men need to begin to wake up and be called into question. We need to quit blaming the other race for our lack of this and that. When we do wrong, we need to admit that we're doing wrong. We cannot blame any other race to say, this is what they're doing to me. That may be true, but what are you doing to make a difference in your life? What are you doing to make a difference in someone else's life? Like I'm doing, sharing stuff, educational information from my experiences, from my understanding, from my discernment, to be a blessing to those who listen, even females, to say, it's about time. I'm one of those individuals who have allowed myself to be put on my own self-imposed mental enslavement prison. And it's thank God as I know him to be, that I can be free if I decide to set myself free. So it's a pleasure to be before you today. I trust that you enjoy what you have heard. If you enjoy what you heard, you can comment, you can like it, you can share it. If you have a comment or if you have something you want to talk about, if you want to express your feelings, like I said, I will use your story to let other males or females know that you are not the only one out there. Again, you can go to my website. I have an email link there. It's hestillspeaksnowlisten.org. Hestillspeaksnowlisten.org. And you see the contact information. And you can check out my other videos. And you can go to my YouTube channel, The Hidden Tears of a Black Male, and also the hidden, just type in He Still Speaks Now Listen. He Still Speaks Now Listen into the Google search engine, and they'll pop up the various sites I have. So thank you once again to be before you. Don't be what I call a turtle that keep its head in its shell. Keeping your head in its shell will deny you from hearing and seeing the truth. Only when you stick your head out of the shell, you will realize that the world, and you have missed your opportunity to be a blessing, an encouragement, an enlightenment to others. Thank you once again for joining me.